Ladies and gentlemen, musical selections from Disney Pixar's Coco. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye, remember me. Don't let it make you cry, for even though I only know the one chord, and I don't know many more lyrics than that, so welcome to Teacup For One. My name is Matt and I have 2 degrees, and I know it's not quite November 1st or 2nd and we're a few days early, but I wanted to take today for my Halloween movie marathon to talk about what might be my favorite Pixar film of all time. Maybe. I mean, it's hard to pick, they're all so good, but if I had to pick a favorite Pixar movie, this one would definitely be in the short list of 10. And that movie is Coco. There are so many reasons to love Coco, and of course, it's a movie that can be enjoyed year-round. But if there was a time of the year to sit down and give it a watch, it would be now. Because of course, Coco is all about Mexico's Day of the Dead, which falls on November 1st and 2nd of each year. It's a time for people to come together and celebrate the memories of loved ones, family, and friends who have since died. And Coco just embodies all the things that we've come to expect and love about Pixar movies. Lovable characters, gorgeous animation, top-notch humor, both visual and scripted, and of course, those 2 or 3 key moments that really just rip out your heart, squish it a little bit, and make you ugly cry.
Your papa, he wanted you to have this.
But there are 2 other things that I just love so much about this film. The first is how it depicts the holiday and the whole culture surrounding it. Now, I'm definitely not the right person to say whether or not it was an accurate depiction of the holiday or the culture, but as someone who knew nothing about the Day of the Dead before seeing Coco, I feel like the movie gave me an understanding, or at the very least, an appreciation for the beauty of the holiday. Based on my labor-intensive Wikipedia research, Pixar did take some creative liberties with the elements of Mexican culture that they portrayed in Coco. For example, choosing to have the Alebrije act as spirit guides in the world of the dead. In reality, the Alebrije are a relatively young part of Mexican culture. They only date back to the 1930s, and I don't think they have anything to do with the Day of the Dead. They're just these really colorful, beautiful pieces of street art that are sold throughout Mexico. And the whole element of having the marigold petal acting as a one-way ticket between the world of the living and the world of the dead was entirely a Pixar creation. But it's rooted in the significance of the marigold to the Day of the Dead celebrations. From what I can tell, it seems like Pixar was very successful at creating their own mythology for the world of Coco while still respecting the culture that the movie was celebrating, and I think overall that's what makes it such a magical film. Well, that and the music, which is the other thing that I love about this movie, how it uses music throughout. Now, if you don't know this about me, I love musicals. Love musicals, especially movie musicals. But because I love them so much, I'm kind of a snob and won't accept very many of them as being good. I just think there's this misconception with movie musicals that if you shoehorn some songs into a film, it gives that film permission to throw any sense of logic out the window. Almost as if the filmmakers are saying, well, they're singing, therefore it's a musical, therefore you have to accept whatever we throw at you. And then it's just putting all the onus on the audience members to have to accept the reality of this movie instead of putting that onus on the filmmakers to craft a film where the singing flows and makes sense. I think that Disney live-action remakes are the perfect example of how not to make a movie musical. Just look at Beauty and the Beast, or, even though I loved it, Jungle Book. These are, by all other appearances, basically period drama films. Yes, they have some elements of fantasy to them, but the drama is all very understated to a point where it makes the musical numbers feel completely unjustified. Because the number one rule with musical theater, or movie musical theater, is that when the characters' emotions get heightened to a point where normal words can no longer express what they're feeling, they break into a song. But if it's a movie where everything is very quiet and very understated, then it feels really out of place when characters break out into a song. Musicals are just very, very complicated. Basically, there needs to be a reason that the characters are singing, and it needs to feel like it makes sense. But everything that I just described about characters randomly breaking into song, that has to do with non-diegetic musical numbers. So when I say non-diegetic musical numbers, I mean those sequences in movie musicals when a character just starts to sing, and then there's an orchestra supporting them, but you don't actually know where the orchestra is coming from, and they're singing in circumstances that in real life wouldn't actually have any kind of musical number attached. Like 99% of movie musicals follow this formula. The brilliance of Coco is that all the music is diegetic. So that means that all of the characters are actually singing in real life. Like, not a ton of movie musicals follow that formula. Like, off the top of my head, I can think of Once and Jersey Boys. There's probably more, but just Once and Jersey Boys. But the reason it works so much stronger in Coco is because even though all the musical numbers are diegetic and the characters are in fact like picking up a guitar and singing in real life, their reasons for singing are still emotionally driven. They're still following that number one rule of musical theater where the songs are a vessel for their emotions. Miguel is either singing to try to prove himself as a musician, or Mama Imelda is trying to use song to reach out to Miguel to show him that she can sing too and that she understands the power of music, or Hector is trying to comfort his dying friend. Or any time they sing Remember Me. And Remember Me is such a brilliant song because it represents the main themes of the movie, but it's also lyrically and melodically beautiful and fluid enough that it can serve multiple narrative purposes. Yes, it can be a big, brassy, lavish production number, but slow it down and sing it to like your baby daughter or your dying grandmother, and then the lyrics just take on an entirely new meaning based on the context. And the versatility of this song is nothing short of genius, which is why I personally think it won the Oscar over the circus song. Yeah, sorry, I really did not like The Greatest Showman. What can I say? This is me. Pixar just never fails to astound me. They always come up with these genius, original ideas and these unique ways to craft films around them. And when I first heard that Pixar was doing their first musical, I was thrilled, but also a little skeptical. Like, thrilled, obviously, because it's a movie musical and it's Pixar, the best of both worlds, Miley Cyrus, but skeptical because it was Pixar doing a movie musical, which is not something that's like within their wheelhouse, really. I actually read that at one point in the development process, they considered having Miguel's family in the land of the dead being cursed so that they could only communicate through singing, which is really funny considering that they're a music-hating family. And yes, that would have been a fun concept. It would have been cute. It would have given us a more like conventional book musical or non-diegetic music musical. But I think the route that they went with Coco was perfect. They crafted a story where music wasn't just part of the narrative, but was essential to it. Anyway, those are my thoughts on why Coco is the best non-musical musical maybe ever. Or at the very least, the best non-musical musical about a bunch of singing skeletons. Oh wait, but then we also have Walt Disney's Skeleton Dance. Whatever. For now, friends, that concludes yet another episode of Teacup For One. Now, let me know in the comment section down below, what is your favorite song from Coco? And if you want to follow me for the tail end of my Halloween spooky movie marathon, make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. It's so easy. All you have to do is click on my face. Thank you for joining us today, everyone. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and that's the Teacup For One. Remember me. I have to say goodbye, remember me.